Hello my guys and welcome to another episode. For this episode, this is a request from one of my viewers. He has a 2000 Honda Accord like mine and he needs to remove the Vtec Solenoid to replace it. And the bottom bolt, someone else stripped it out. So in this episode I'm going to show you how to go about it so you can remove your Vtec Solenoid and replace it. So let's get to it. Right here I have a new Vtec Solenoid, so probably the one on the bottom they strip it out. You're not gonna be able to get to it if you don't remove the thermostat housing. If you remove the thermostat housing, that's just another issue. You're gonna have to buy the new gasket and make sure that nothing leaks. So in this episode I'm gonna show you step by step how to go about it. If you cannot remove the bolt, that probably is the one on the bottom. Probably you're gonna need something like this extractor set. I'm gonna put the link in the description for the set so you can go about this and remove the bolt if it's already stripped out. Here on my 2000 Accord 4-cylinder automatic, Vtec Solenoid is right here. I already removed the intake and few hoses because I was working on something else. Now, to go about it, like I said before, you have to remove the housing so you can get to the bottom bolt. Otherwise, it's not gonna be possible. Once you remove your intake tube, remove few hoses, of course you're gonna have to drain the coolant or you're gonna have a massive coolant leak because you're gonna remove everything from here, from the housing. So remove your coolant from the radiator so you can save as much as possible. But if you try to do a flush, this is gonna be a good time to do it because we're removing the whole housing that is right here to get to the bolts on the solenoid. Start disconnecting everything. This is the connector for the thermostat housing. Right here you have your connector for the distributor. Down there you have the connector for the Vtec Solenoid. Right here on top you have this connector. You have to remove the little clip. Just press on top to get it out of the way, but disconnected anyways. That's from the solenoid too. And the bottom one I think is the oil pressure switch. I believe so. I'm not sure right now. This hose right here with pliers, disconnect this hose so you can get everything out of the way. If this hose doesn't want to move, grab your pliers and move it around like that. You're gonna be able to pull it out. Okay, all the hoses are out of the way. Everything is disconnected. Now you can remove the bolts. They have one right here on the back and you have another one on this side. For the bolt on the inside you're gonna need a swivel adapter, and like that you're gonna be able to remove that one. If you don't have a swivel, it's gonna be really hard for you, and this is how it looks like. And for the other one you can use it as well, but on the other one you don't need it. Just in case, I have my swivel in there, and like that I can get to both of the bolts. I already removed the bolts. Now housing is almost free, you just have to pull it. It's gonna have a little O-ring on this hose that it goes down, so just pull on it to remove it. Housing is out of the way. Now this is the tricky part. If you can see that hose right there, that tube, that's where the other O-ring goes. So let me remove the housing from the hose so I can have better visibility to show you how to do it and how to go about it once you have to put everything back. Housing is out of the way. Hose is out of the way. Now if you're doing this process because you got to get to the third bolt on the Vtec Solenoid, now you're gonna have the room, but you have to get a new O-ring for this tube. And this O-ring has to be Honda. Don't get a cheap aftermarket. Get from the dealer the O-ring that is gonna go right here. Once you gotta go and put that O-ring back in this piece, make sure that you lubricate this O-ring. You don't want to pinch this O-ring because you're gonna have a coolant leak. Now that I remove that housing, you're gonna have access to the bolts for the Vtec solenoid. You can see the bolts are right there. Those are 10 millimeter. By the way, the two for the housing, those are 12 millimeter. So I don't have to remove my Vtec solenoid, but let me remove it so we can see how everything looks inside. Once you remove the housing, in order for you to put the extractor in here, you have to push this tube down. You can move it slightly like that. Yeah, has some antifreeze, but push it down and then you're gonna be able to put your ratchet in there, because otherwise it's gonna be really hard. With that tube out of the way, now you have all the room to put your socket or extractor. To get to the third bolt on that side, the other 10 millimeter, I just press on these little tabs to remove these wires, and if you can see right there, that's my wrench. I have it right on the bolt. I just need to go that way to loosen it up. The other two on this side are loose, but it's hard for me to put the camera and record at the same time and work on it because I need both of my hands to do all this. So right now it's on the bolt. Bolt is really tight. A longer 10 millimeter, that one fell off. A longer 10 millimeter wrench is gonna work better, so you can have it right here and push that way. But for that one, socket doesn't fit unless you remove your EGR, and I think the best way is going from top right here. This is the top bolt. It's almost out of the way. Bottom bolt right here, almost out of the way. It's gonna be easier for you to remove this EGR in case you don't get access to the third one, because it's difficult. Once you remove the EGR, it's only 2 12s on the bottom, one in there and one in there. Once you remove the EGR, you're gonna have better access to remove the solenoid, the Vtec solenoid, and the Vtec solenoid is right here, and that's the housing. Now let me take this inside to close this video out because it's super windy here. Okay guys, just to finish the episode, here is the Vtec solenoid. I destroyed that connector. That switch is right here, and luckily I have this solenoid. I'm not gonna put it on because I don't need to. Car is down right now. And like I said before, if you're gonna do this installation, make sure that you get a new O-ring for the tube, because if you don't put a new one that sits right there, you're gonna have a leakage. When you put this one on, lubricate the area and put it on the tube on the car, and then slide this one in until it goes all the way in, and it's gonna stop right there in the little notch. If you're doing this, go to Honda, get that O-ring, get this one. Make sure that you get this one from Honda. If you get some Amazon, eBay, aftermarket, your Vtec solenoid is gonna leak. This is from Honda. When I replace it, and when I did this process, that was like 7-8 years ago, I put new ones from Honda, this one and the one on top. Extractor set, I'm gonna put the link in the description for the extractor set, and this is all you need. You need a 10 millimeter. I tried to use this 10 millimeter, but it's too thick and it didn't fit. Try to put it right here, and it's not gonna go in, it's not gonna go in, it's not gonna go in. It's too thick. Make sure that your 10 millimeter is thinner like this one, because like that you're gonna be able to go to the bolt. You don't have a lot of space, and there you have it. That's all you have to do when you do this process. If you're gonna do this process, you can go ahead and remove the thermostat. This only does 2 bolts, and put a new thermostat, because you're gonna have to bleed the system, do the whole process. Well guys, I'm gonna leave it with this. Like I said before, make sure that you get the O-ring and all the gaskets from Honda. Don't get aftermarket, they're gonna leak.